Good morning. Well, we've had an eventful morning already. One of our cows got into that field way up there that actually belongs to a neighbor of ours, but we use it for mowing hay and sometimes for pasturing the cattle. But our girl found a way through. Actually, she found a way over. And he was kind of worried this morning because when we came up here with some grain to get her out of there, she jumped back across. Well, in Hugh's family, they never keep a jumper because you really can't keep them contained unless you can build a fence higher than is needed for the rest of the cattle. So, and that's our Willow. So I'm hoping that will be the last time she'll ever try doing that. Good morning, Mama Duck. Where'd you go? There you are. But anyway, I told y'all yesterday, and there's Ferdy sitting over there on the fence. Good morning, Ferds. Willow is the one that's standing over there behind the fence, behind the gate. All right, that's Willow. She's the one that jumped today. But anyway, I told y'all yesterday that I would film Hugh cutting lumber. So I'm following him over here to do just that. Yesterday evening, just as it was beginning to rain, I got 2 more trays of plants set out. Excuse me. And I'm down to just a few. Let me see. I think I have about 300 left out of this succession, and then we'll be starting our new succession plants this week. So yay, we got a good start. Now if these guys in the field will just hurry up and come along and get her done, we'll be good. All right. Are these the 2 from the sawmill, this one and this one? I said, is this one and this one the 2 that we brought home the other day?
Yeah.
Okay. This log and this log are 2 of the ones that we brought home the other day. And then this big one, he's got it half sawed already.
Well, close to high.
And, you know, I told you that... there's George, the intimidator. But anyway, he said, you know, they get rid of the oak logs that have blue in them. He hasn't ran across any blue yet, so this was a log that would have possibly been used for something different. All right.
This log here was about 33 inches when we started on it. I'm gonna brag a little bit on a turbo sawmill for anybody looking for one. I don't care how big the log is. I'm limited to about 13 feet in length sawing, but diameter, it really doesn't matter about diameter. I could cut probably a 60-inch log if I could get it up to the mill. But the nice thing about the mono beam is, like, I don't have anything that will pick this log up, so I can take that tractor or the old backhoe or something. If I can roll it up beside this mill and kind of block it, see, I've got this one wedged in. I can saw it, and band mills have their place, but I personally don't want one. I personally like the turbo mill simply because it's mono beam and it's a swing blade. Now, this is the smallest mill they make. It's just 13 horsepower, and the teeth, it's only got 5 teeth on the blade. I can cut 6x6s, and they make a mill in an 8-inch mill. But this is the greatest thing about a turbo mill, is you got carbide teeth. And you can change them. You can change them on the mill or whatever you want to do. But if I can roll a log, if I've got something I can roll a log up beside this mill, I can saw it.
Well, you can make this as long as you want to. You just keep adding these beams.
I can buy extensions. I can buy extensions to make this thing cut as long as you want to stand them up. But I don't want to handle anything. I'm 64 years old. I'm not going to handle anything of great length. And it's rare that you need anything bigger, really, that on the farm that bigger than a 2x6. And but I come here and let me show them something else.
Ours will cut a 14-foot log, though, right? Or
I can cut a 14-foot, but I have to get it just perfect on the mill.
So 13-foot you can easily cut.
12-foot is good. But I like their scale set up. This lever here moves the mill. Now they make an automated mill that everything does by a push of a button, but they're considerable more money. Now this particular mill, I could have bought a man mill a lot cheaper, but with a man mill you have to turn the log. I don't turn log. I start at the top and I saw down as far as I can go. But the way this scale is, it's got the kerf figured in on the scale. So if I want to cut 1 inch, I just come around to the 1 right here. And then if I want to cut, if I'm cutting another inch board, I come around to 2 1/4. So you'll get good with fractions of figuring this. And another thing, figure what you could, your biggest yield out of the diameter of the log. I've got about 10 inches or so that I can go down on this log, so I'm limited to a 6-inch cut at one time. So probably what I'll do, you always need 2x4s. I'll take 2 sections of 2x4s down. By that time, that'll be taking 8.5 inches off of this log, if you figure your kerf cut. So I'll probably take 2 more rounds of 2x4s and we'll stack them up, and then the tractor should pick it up and put my blocks under it to where I can finish cutting the log. And our son, Aaron, is really big into bowl turning, so I may save, if he wants it, I may save the very bottom part of this log, maybe the bottom 12 inches for him to make bowls and stuff out of. We'll just wait and see how it turns out. But anyhow, you got to be sure with these things and wear your safety equipment, because the sawdust that this thing throws out, especially pine and poplar, is not a problem, but oak and hickory, this sawdust is a little coarse, and that the mill will absolutely it feels like you're getting stung by a bee that hitting you in the face and all. So I wear a shield when I'm cutting hardwood especially. And another neat thing about sharpening this mill, I don't have to change the blade. I have this little thing here that comes with the mill, and you just pin it in the hole on the teeth, and it's a little grinding stone. And I have used it. We've had this mill, what, 5 years?
At least, yeah.
At least 5 years. It has cut a lot of wood. I mean, it has cut a lot of wood, and I am on the second blade. The first blade got to where it was stretched a little bit and the teeth wouldn't stay tight, but a blade is really not that bad expensive. And so instead of me changing blades, I just sharpen it and keep sawing. And all you gotta have is a drill, which is great, absolutely great.
That sharpens the the blade or the teeth?
That sharpens the teeth.
The teeth, yeah. But you have replaced the whole blade.
I have replaced the whole blade. Remember this year?
Yeah.
I had a tooth that wouldn't stay in.
Right.
And well, now that blade had been on it 5 years and it had cut a lot of wood. I mean, it had cut a lot of wood. So if I get 5 years out of this blade, changing teeth, I put probably 5 or 6 sets of teeth in that other blade. And what I do, I get over here.
Okay, if I get behind the mill, I can see what you're doing, but will I get...
You got to stay behind me on this side. On that side, you're fixing to see it throws.
Which way does it throw it the most?
That way.
Okay, well, I'll stay over here for right now.
You got to stay kind of behind me.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do, I think I'm going to get 2 rounds of 2x4s. Always wear safety glasses when you're fooling with a sawmill. I don't care what kind.
Yeah. He wears the shield as well.
If I'm cutting hardwood, I wear the shield. If I don't wear the shield, if I'm not cutting hardwood, because it, what did I do with my earplug? Oh, I done put them around my neck.
You did. But
you gotta wear earplugs. But this is the easiest saw to maintain that's ever been. So now, if I get a log like maybe 50 inches, Ned, I mean, it's gonna be extremely rare. It's gonna be 50 inches. Probably next week we're going after one that's probably 54 inches.
Oh, I thought you said it was 56.
It's 54, I think. I don't remember.
Okay.
So all I'll do is unbolt the mill right here on these little concrete pads. I'll unbolt the mill, and I've got a couple oak 6x6s saved up, and I'll put an oak 6x6 here on both sides. And when I get it down manageable, but this is a great design. Now, but I prefer a swing blade. Now Lucas makes a swing blade, but it's a double beam. Peterson's saw is a double beam, but Peterson and Lucas and Turbo Mill are all owned by the same family. They're all brothers. Their dad is the one that engineered the Turbo Mill. And but I just particularly like a mono beam design. I think they advertise it as maybe 15 thousandths deflection in this beam. When you're sawing wood, you're not going to get 15 thousandths. I mean, you're not going to see 15 thousandths. You're really not. So we'll make a little sawdust fly here.
I may have to move way back. I don't know. Depends on.
You're fine.
Okay. But I think right here, y'all can see it.
So
the cut.
With the measurement of the log and what I've got left right here, I'm going to cut 2 rounds of 2x4s. And that'll be quite a few 2x4s. I don't remember how much I cut on half, but now this mill is ideal for quarter sawing. Because you kind of can't keep from quarter sawing with it. But there's no log turning or nothing. I've said that before. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to come right here, reset my scale. Now this is the only kind of slow part. You have to adjust your elevation from both ends. If Jake ever comes up with something to add to this mill to adjust both ends. But like I said, this is the smallest mill they make. It's a totally a manual mill. You do everything by hand. But it just really impressed me. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna come down. I'm gonna come down 4 inches on this end, then I'll go down and cut 4 inches on the other end. And always go a little below your mark and tighten up a little bit. But I think I'll get a little better yield by getting 2 rounds of 2x4s. But I think every farm should own a small sawmill. And it's
He just loves a sawmill. He
it's-
just does.
Huh?
I said, you love a sawmill.
The big long shed over here where all of the tractors and the junk are. My dad had a double-aught frick sawmill in that shed, and he could cut a 24-foot log.
Yeah, you've heard us talk about that.
But
that
I
was
love
scary.
the smell of wood. I love the feel of wood. I love working with wood. I'm a hobby woodworker. I make a little furniture along and just anything you do. But we built 400 foot of fence around the chicken lot, and we sawed all of that. And a lot of people will say, why are you using a pretty white oak log to build a fence with a bill? Wood is wood. I have wood stashed in the barn up there and in the barn down there, drying out to do particular projects with. But white oak is a very good wood. The old farmers told a story that a white oak will last 100 years. If it's in the dry, like in a building or something, it'll last a lot longer than 100 years. That old barn, our old big barn, is oak and chestnut down there, and it was 100 years old last year. It was built in 1923, and it's still solid as a rock.
Okay, I think I can set you all down and keep from blowing around. Uh-oh. What were you saying to me? What did you say to me?
I said I took too big of a cut. Let me go over here and get some gas.
Okay. Well, we'll go up here and talk to the cattle for a minute.
Yep, I am out. I filled it up yesterday morning.
Where's your water jug? I thought you had to have your water jug.
Well, I never turned the gas on. That's my doing.
Ah.
I had the gas cut off.
Okay.
Now, bring it over here just a little bit.
Hey, Sammy. There's your little bull.
This little pile of wood right here, so far, is the only waste that I have. Now, if you had a band mill, the only way you're going to get more yield with a band mill, yes, I have a 1/4 inch kerf, 7 millimeter kerf actually, but the only way that you're going to get more yield with a band mill than I get with this mill is if you have two machines. You'd have to have a band mill and you'd have to have the edger.
Mm-hmm. But this isn't
right
waste
here,
because this is going in the bottom of my raised beds. This is Hugel culture.
this little pile right here is the only waste I've had out of half of that log so far. But I love the yield you get with a turbo mill.
Hey, Sammy. Hi, darling. Hi, sweetheart.
I do things a little different, I think, than a lot of people that own a turbo mill. A lot of people will go out and back and have a product. I'll come back about 3 times and then make one flat cut, and I'll cut 2x4s 3 at a time. Well, they're not going to be a full 2x4. We're using them for our own purposes, so they're going to be 4 inches by 1 3/4 which with oak wood, it's gonna be stupid strong anyhow. So all I'll do is come back here. And let's start by the scale here. I usually don't, but for demonstration purposes, I will. I'm gonna do away with the curve because I want 1 3/4 stuff. So if I come around here to the 2, and then you figure a 1/4 inch kerf, 7mm kerf, it's gonna be about 1 3/4 inches.
Okay.
Come here and I'll show you. This is a very consistent meal. Just under 1 3/4 inches, which that's fine. This is for my use. I'm not sewing it for somebody else. But see, I'm the same down here. And I'm 3 3/4 there. And I'm 3 3/4 here. If you cut a bad board on this mill, it's your fault because you can't read the scale. And I have screwed up on the reading scales. But this log was rejected by the sawmill because it had a little blue on the ends. And the blue is a sign of metal. But a log, depending on the mineral deposits it grows on, they can vary the color quite a bit.
Is this it right here? What they're seeing? That's not really blue.
That's not blue. That's just that's a start of a barrel. That's a little bit of a barrel.
Okay.
When this tree was younger, there was probably a tree limb right here.
Uh-huh.
And
Okay. But all of this extra, all this excess wood and powder.
We compost the sawdust. There's not a lot get wasted. She beds the chicken houses and the goose house and stuff. So we reuse everything, and then we'll mix excess sawdust in with the cow manure for compost, and she'll put that on the garden.
Yeah, and these little pieces of wood will go in the raised beds because we have decided that is going to be a thing. We're gonna build raised beds, and that will just be lovely. It will be lovely.
One of my earplugs come off the string. I've got to reload.
Uh-oh. Okay. Well, I think, Huey, I'm going to head back to the house and get my chickens fed. Thank you, kind sir.
You're very welcome.
We'll be coming over here and visiting with them on a regular basis. And whatever else you guys are doing, or that he's doing, we'll just aggravate him all the time. Is that okay with you?
But if any of y'all are looking for a sawmill, I would highly recommend the turbo mill. Yeah, you can buy a band mill a lot cheaper. You really can. But if you're an older person, there's no log to turn. But you can get many features on different mills. It's just whatever you want. It really is.
Are you going to cut for a while?
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll come back over and...
I'm going to get rid of this log.
All right. We'll come back over and look at the progress in a little bit. I got to go feed my chickens. Love y'all. Love you too, honey. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. I'll see you in a little bit, guys.